Welcome to this interview. This is Kelly Fasterling with eXp Realty, and I am here today with Mary Sekowski, and I'm very, very honored to have her with me. Mary is a 10-year realtor. She's an icon agent. What that means in my world is she's a big realtor. She does a lot of business. She's a very active short-term rental investor and greatly involved in her community. So Mary, welcome today. Thank you so much for joining me.
Sure thing, Kelly. Thank you.
Let's talk a little bit about your journey into real estate, because that is not where you started. You started in the banking industry. Talk to me a little bit about that start and then why the shift into real estate.
Okay, well, I was a finance major in college, and then through that, it was a great segue into starting a career in banking, which I did for 12 years. I really enjoyed it. I love the relationship component of banking. When I first started building financial relationships, helping people with their entire financial picture to achieve their financial goals throughout life.
Yes.
It shifted a little bit with the recession in 2008. It shifted a lot, actually, and it became
a lot.
much less relationship oriented and much more transactional, and that just didn't speak to me as much.
Yeah.
So I in the meantime, had some pretty significant life changes that took me from Georgia to Colorado, and it was a great opportunity to start a new career. And real estate, something I was always interested in and always wanted to get into. It's just one of those leaps of faith to jump into it. And it was a really good time in 2012, being at the end of the recession, and not a lot of agents in the market. So
yes,
it was a perfect time to get in, and I did. And I love the relationship component of real estate, helping my clients with their number one financial investment, which is their home or their other investment properties, is the number one way that they meet those financial goals in life. So it's just been a very rewarding and a great journey in this.
Well, go back to when you first started in real estate. You shifted, you got your license. We kind of think we know about doing real estate, but we really don't. Tell me some of that, kind of that first year for you. What would you go back and tell yourself as that first year agent to say, this is what I might have done differently. This worked, but this is what I might have done differently.
I found early on that really leaning on those that I was introduced to, paired up with, and worked with, I could have leaned into them even more for their expertise and their experience. I had a pretty strong sales background when it came to following up on leads and cold calling and everything that I did at the bank. But when it came down to really developing that expertise in the real estate field, leaning into those people that had been doing it for many, many years and doing that even more so would have helped me get an even better jump start the first couple of years.
Yeah, really connecting and having that mentor to really help. Now, was there ever a point when you look at your 10-year history in real estate, was there ever a point where you kind of just hit a wall and you felt like you got stuck somewhere?
Let's see. Well, I would say between, I don't know that I really hit a wall, but I will say I had to pivot. I reached a point about maybe 5 years into the business where I was bringing in more business than I was receiving from, lead generation within my team. And so that was a growth moment for me. I moved to Colorado. I didn't have any family or any friend networks or professional networks to lean on when starting my business. So it was really important to have that team structure at the beginning. But after a couple of years and really developing my own networks and, becoming more grounded in who I am and my friends and family here in this area, I didn't need that so much anymore. And so that was a pivot to be able to continue to grow my business in a way that is successful and what has been very successful. It was the right time to pivot out of the team environment into really developing that SOI, source of business. And that's what I've been focusing on ever since.
Exactly. Well, and then with this very strong management financial background that you had, how has that helped you in your real estate for you and or for your clients?
Well, it still to this day remains my favorite component of this business to help first-time home buyers. It's my heartstrings to be able to help a family buy their home for the first time. I mean, I do a lot more than that now with listings and investors and all of that, but the hands down most rewarding set of clients for me are my first-time home buyers, and I can utilize that financial experience with them, especially when they are so confused and scared about the mortgage process and
Right.
this huge financial commitment. Also with investors, and especially with my clients that have ventured into the short-term rental arena, being able to help them with their rate of return calculations and really giving them a peaceful, easy feeling or not, if it's not a good investment,
Exactly.
to be able to move forward or keep looking. So I think that has really been a big asset to my background and bringing that to the table for my clients.
So talk to me a bit about your shift into the short-term market. How did you pick short-term versus long-term versus commercial? How did you get started on your first one? Making that leap for the first time is what's really hard for some people. So talk to me about your journey there.
Well, the short-term rental investment arena was more of an accidental discovery for me. My husband and I purchased a ski condo in Keystone, thinking we were going to use it more than we did. When our son was in school and he was busy and life got busy, we just didn't. And so, this was sort of at the very beginning of the Airbnb wave, and we put it on Airbnb and it's just done great. So we've expanded from there, and I've learned a lot. We personally have invested in places that we like to go visit. There's a lot of people who prefer to have their whole investment portfolio more condensed in one area.
Right.
And so, for us personally, we have a pretty multifaceted set of experience with different markets and different potential rates of return based on a ski area or a beach area or just a mountain location. And so with that, I've been able to help a lot of my clients accomplish those same goals, whether they want to be condensed in one area or expand out. It's super rewarding to me. I love hospitality at the heart of who I am. And so I love to be able to accommodate a family that wants to go on vacation and maybe can't afford a nice hotel or 2 or 3 rooms, for their vacation. And we can provide a nice vacation home for that family to visit. And so I think being able to relay that overlapping that into my real estate career, it's something that strikes the chord with a lot of people. They want to be able to do the same thing and want to be able to offer that kind of experience to others. And so, then it's not just about the money. It's not just about the rate of return. It's about being able to provide something for somebody that's meaningful.
My mom and sister and I do a girls trip a couple times a year, and we'll always look to an Airbnb or a VRBO in some location because it gives us that capability to stay together, to sit and play cards all day, to go out and cook our own meals, only go out once a night. It's just a beautiful experience. We just won't do a hotel anymore. So it's neat that the industry has evolved.
Absolutely. It changes the way people travel and live life. They can live where they're at, and they don't have to restructure how they're living. They just bring their bags, move right in, and they're home. And that's a really cool thing.
It is. It is. Now, as you're coaching and working with somebody who might be a bit new to the short-term environment, just paint a kind of a broad umbrella picture of what they need to consider if this is a direction they're heading.
Well, they need to, of course, consider occupancy, and they need to do that deep analysis on the numbers and the rate of return and cash flow. There's two facets to short-term rental. One is that monthly cash flow. You want to make sure that you're covering your expenses and maybe providing a positive cash flow. But if not, if you're even just breaking even, also relying on that long-term appreciation for your overall financial health. So beginning with knowing the numbers and knowing the market and being able to understand, and for me to be able to relay to my clients how to properly look at the market. There are a lot of tools out there now, Air DNA, and there's some different things that help people do this analysis. And so I've directed them, to that. But first doing the analysis. And then secondly, what is the reason why they're buying the property to begin with? Is it something that they want to buy strictly as an investment where they are just looking at the rate of return and the numbers and cash flow potential, or is it something their family is going to use on their own breaks and then rent when they're not using it? And that does change the thought process a little bit on what they buy. You certainly don't want to buy something that you yourself and your family wouldn't be able to stay in and would accommodate comfortably for your own family. So taking that into account is as important of a piece of the conversation as the numbers themselves.
Right. Exactly. Those are very good considerations. And then I know that there are a lot of HOA considerations and then local considerations in terms of, are they allowed? How much are they allowed? How long does the short-term policy have to be, kind of thing?
And that is ever changing right now. In fact, in the town in Woodland Park here where I live, we're in the middle of some pretty significant overhaul changes with our short-term rental regulations, as are many other municipalities and counties across the nation. So it is important to be able to know that data, know the requirements. There's some towns that go as far as having building inspections and are requiring ADA accessibility for one's personal home or condo or townhome to be able to short-term rent it. So that is quite variable, and it is becoming more and more prevalent as this is becoming more of a structured business arrangement for a lot of people. And although they are residential rentals, there is the argument that they are businesses as well. And so therefore it is important to be able to know that information.
I know you stay on top of all that and you're in different areas, so it's not like you learn the rules in one spot and it applies everywhere. It doesn't. Where do you go to find those rules and to do that digging?
So generally, most cities and counties, if they have short-term rental regulations, they have it on their website now. It's important for those places to be able to get that information out quickly and be able to have FAQ sheets and so that the normal consumer can easily access that information. The platforms like Vrbo and Airbnb, for example, I'd say those are the two largest platforms for short-term rental. They also have their own little government tabs and websites for different areas, especially the larger metropolitan areas, Denver, New York, LA, and so on. So for those, they have quite a bit of information, but going directly to the city's website or the county's website initially is a great place to start.
Okay, perfect. Well, and so you're balancing the short-term rental business because you're managing them yourself, are you not?
I manage mine myself, yes.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a job.
Yes.
And then your real estate, and I'll repeat, Mary is a very skilled and talented realtor that helps a whole lot of people. She does a lot of business. So balancing that, how do you balance that? And then you've got kids as well, and a husband. So how do you, and then your community involvement, let me add that, because you're very, very involved in your community there. Talk to me about the balance and how you make all of that work for you.
That's a tricky question because I don't know that it works well most days. But I do the best I can. I'm a big believer in get through the day. Try not to think too hard about tomorrow and try not to ponder on what happened yesterday. Really look at at the commitments and the requirements for the day and then work through those. I'm not too much of a structured person. I know, there's a lot of very smart people who are very structured and every minute of what they do throughout the day. And that's a wonderful way to be able to manage multitasking. I tend to, go through my task list and see how I can knock it out. It is important to me to be really involved in my community and my, this kids' school board and, other municipal things that are going on, I think are really important to be involved in. And so that has crossed over into success in my real estate business, as well as can hurt it, if someone doesn't like my viewpoints or how I manage certain things. But overall, it's a good thing. And it does get tricky to manage, but day by day.
And it's showing up as you, and you have such amazing heart and such amazing gifts to give to people. So, and I know that as you are involved in the community, you have quite a passion for it. Talk to me a little bit about some of your involvement in different community things.
Well, currently, I've been very involved in the establishment of a charter school here in Woodland Park called Merit Academy, and it's a classical education charter school. Um, I believe that school choice in communities is really important and very beneficial. Um,
Mhm.
our particular community, we've had years of declining school enrollment for several different reasons, but one main thing is there's just no choice. There was no school choice here in our community, and so by providing that, we're bringing families back from taking their kids down to Colorado Springs to the different options that they have in the Springs to stay in Woodland Park and in our community for school.
Mhm.
So I'm a founder of that school and then on the school board there. I've also been very involved in our local government with the short-term rental regulations. One can argue as a real estate agent and a short-term rental investor that, some would argue that maybe I have a one-sided viewpoint. Others would say, well, I was very well-rounded because if short-term rental owners are restricted and want to sell, then that's great for the real estate market. So I think it does provide a pretty well-rounded mindset for me and what's best for our community in the long run to uphold property rights, to allow owners to use their property in a suitable way, residential way, but also be held accountable to their actions as property owners and the guests that they invite into their home. So, I've been really working hard to try to implement some regulation in our current in our local town here for good neighbor policies, responsible ownership, responsible guest conduct, and such. So
That's
those are two of the
amazing.
main things I've been involved in here in my community.
That's amazing, and I know you've done many other things as well. But thank you for reaching out and for standing up and taking the time to invest in your community. That's amazing. Now, talk to me a little bit about again your back to your journey in real estate,
Mhm.
and when you shifted from that team dynamic and that team association to really going more solo. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Um, okay. Well, I'm a big relationship person, anyway. So, I really lean in heavily on those relationships that I've built and those connections that I've made with people to be able to sustain business, referrals and word of mouth. And so I've really heavily relied on that. It's a little bit scary when you step out into an individual type position after having been in a team environment where you have business coming in all the time, and as long as you're working those leads and as long as you're calling those people back, then you have business. It's sort of a leap of faith, if you will, of getting out there and saying, you know what, I'm going to rely on my own, relationships and stamina and gumption to make this a success. Um, and it's been really good. In fact, I'm, looking at expanding that into team building of my own,
Thank you.
which, for me, I really love helping other new agents build up their business. And I really want to see them succeed and thrive too. And I recognize that if they're doing the same thing that I did, if I'm teaching them the way that I know, that they're, going to eventually build their own networks and they're going to also be able to go out on their own and be successful. And to me, that's a tremendous success on my part to help them get them to a point where they don't have to be reliant on me for, years and years. And so that's what I'm working on developing right now is helping those agents get up and running.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And there's such a dynamic in our world. So talk to me a little bit about why you elected to shift your brokerage into eXp Realty.
Well, EXP offered a lot of autonomy in my business that I was drawn to. I, like many agents, was not unhappy where I was, and I was with a local small boutique brokerage. The broker there, I have a wonderful relationship with. In fact, he was my team leader whenever I first got my license, and we have a very wonderful relationship. But being a small brokerage, I wasn't going to be able to expand my horizons much farther than where I was at. And I could sustain my business on that, but being somebody who loves to travel and being someone who eventually does want to be in a different state months out of the year, EXP was hugely attractive to me, especially because I could work in multiple places under one umbrella. So that was the number one reason why I came over to EXP, is because my husband's counting down to, I think he's down to 9 years, 2 months, and 12 days to move to Hawaii. And whenever we do that, I want to be able to go back and forth. And I love Colorado, and I'm from Georgia, so I have a lot of family and a lot of networks there. And I'd love eventually to be able to make that a dynamic that works. EXP also has a wonderful stock program. I love the employee stock purchase program. The financial side of me was hugely drawn to that.
Yes.
I understand that, through just systematic investment, on a monthly basis, based on my closings, and that money just going right into an investment account builds over time and it compounds. And so I was really excited to see what that would do. And then, and those were the two main reasons that I came over to EXP, and that I've been very happy that I did.
Well, and being an icon agent, it puts you in a position where you're really working for nothing. You're getting all of it back, all of the cap back.
That's right.
As a result. Where else can you do that, where you not only get it back, but then it has this potential for you, which is huge.
Absolutely. Yeah. If one nickel and dimes the monthly fees and the caps and all that stuff, then, you can compare this and that, but overall it's just a wonderful structure to be able to have some financial freedom.
Well, and you've had an opportunity to attend a number of the different events, the EXP events, the networking events, some of the local events. You've been a speaker for our local events here. How has that camaraderie helped you in your business?
Anytime you're around other groups of people who are successful, even more so than myself, and there's many, coming from a small brokerage firm where I was the number one agent to EXP, where I'm a very small fish in a very big pond, it's motivating. You get around people who have been not only in this business for much longer, but have brought different viewpoints and strategies to their business that they're willing to share with others. And so being around those people can only help me to be better and to improve and to think about what I'm doing and how I can change what I'm doing on a daily basis to be better. And so it's a net positive for sure.
I have found that too. And by just the association of meeting people like you, meeting other people in our community, I just find you have such heart, such care for people, such care for your community, for your family, for your business, for your host, for the people that come into your homes. I mean, it just exudes from you, and it's just been a blessing to me to get to know you just a little bit through the last few years. So thank you so much for joining today. Is there anything else that you would like to add?
No, Kelly, I guess I could just add that I'm equally as thankful to have met you and others that I've really gotten to know over the last couple of years within EXP, and I'm thankful for that too. And so, yeah, thank you for that.
It's been a true gift, hasn't it?
Yes.
Well, you have an amazing day, and I'll look forward to catching up later.
Okay, thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.